And so they say innovation happens when there is some sort of innovation trigger. And that can, us forcing to start a new release cycle, but it can also be something else. Like, for example, the very first release cycle of Drupal was effectively me, discovering PHP and MySQL. So, relatively new technologies at a time that triggered me to start, building something. And so something triggers innovation. Some buzz starts to build. Early adopters jump on the bandwagon, start promoting the technology, and stuff like that. And then you arrive at what they call the peak of inflated expectations. And after the peak of inflated expectations, because things don't really live up the hype, you get into this trove of disillusionment. And for example, social networking and Web 2.0 is something which they position to be right there. There was a lot of hype about it, but right now organizations are trying to figure out how to effectively use it. But then over time, during the slope of enlightenment, people discover best practices and stuff like that, and eventually they reach the plateau of productivity, which I thought was interesting because it was so similar to what we saw in Drupal. And they also described something like the swamp of diminishing returns and the cliff of obsolescence. So the point here is that you have to keep innovating. You have to have those iterations of those cycles to keep moving forward. So looks remarkably similar to what we have. Also because I drew it like that. But still, it does, right? So the big question then is, when should we freeze a code? Traditionally, and I still do, it was very much sort of, I followed my gut about, when Drupal was sort of ready to be frozen. And my gut sort of described it like the previous release has to be sort of in a happy place, right? In this case, that would be Drupal 6 needs to be in a happy place, but also the next release, Drupal 7, also has to be in a happy place. Using this hype cycle paradigm, I guess, I was able to sort of use slightly different terminology, which I thought was helpful, at least for me, in how to think about these things. And I think what needs to be the case is to do a release. The next release has to be this peak of inflated expectations. People have to be really excited about it, meaning we have to have added a whole lot of stuff that actually make people excited. There has to be enough meat in the release. At the same time, I think the previous release has to be sort of in the plateau of productivity, which I think makes sense. At least it made sense to me. So then the big question is, of course, these two questions. So the first question, which I would like to answer, is Drupal 6 sort of in the plateau of productivity? Looking at some statistics, this is the number of sites running Drupal that ping home to DDoS. So it's a partial view of all the sites, but what you see is a steady growth. It's real growth. It's not exponential growth, but it is real growth. Another metric is the number of visitors to DDoS. And as you can see, the data isn't always like perfect because we had some migration issues and we lost a little bit of data once in a while, but overall, you can see healthy, strong growth. Same thing with the number of page views. So we're serving about 30 million pages a month right now, if not more. So I think these are all great signs of how Drupal is growing and how we continue to win and how people continue to adopt Drupal. Other great sites are actually sites switching to Drupal or all of these big sites launching on Drupal, which I think is a testimonial to the work that we have done. And one example which I don't think is really quite public yet, but they switched last week, is Java.net. That's a healthy sign, right? And I was happy with my bookshelf shrinking, like Drupal books taking over my Java books. But the Java community site being relaunched in Drupal I think it's a great thing. The other sign of our growth and success, I think, is we continue to win these awards. And actually just yesterday, InfoWorld announced that we're part of the Best of Open Source Software Awards. So, yeah, great job, everyone. And so there's this steady stream of good stuff, I think, coming at us. And actually, the Bossy Awards were just yesterday. This morning, it was announced that now Public was acquired by a company called examiner.com. And so they're going to move, one of the top 60 websites in the world to Drupal. And so, congratulations to all of the non-public people in the room. But I mean, that's a great win for us because it's another sign of how Drupal is getting into bigger deals, bigger projects and stuff like that. So overall, I would say that Drupal 6 is in a really good shape. We're winning. We're winning because we have a flexible platform. We're winning because we're backed by a great community of people that continue to innovate. And so I think we're in good shape there. So the next question, of course, is, what about Drupal 7? Are we in this thing called the peak of inflated expectations? Or, to use my own words, are we in this happy zone that we need to be in before we can call a code freeze? And so let's have a look at some of the stuff we have done, right? So we have a new database layer. We added support for master-slave replication. We have support for transactions. We have support for multi-insert queries. We have delayed inserts. We have a much improved Postgres backend. We have new support for SQLite, which is a new backend. We made it possible for people to MySQL and Oracle support. We have stronger password hashes. We have a feature to rate limit logins. We have WYSIWYG support, or better WYSIWYG support. We have more drag and drop, dummy install profiles. We removed a bunch of complicated command controls. We have a feature to allow account cancellation. We added a built-in. I'm only at the A. So we added, I'll keep going for a little while, okay? So it's a great reminder of all the stuff we did because it is pretty remarkable, all the work we did. So we added a built-in cron feature so people no longer have to set up cron themselves, which I think is going to be huge as well. We added a default administrator role because everybody added one. We thought it was a very good idea. We redesigned the password strength checker based on usability testing.